Dynamite Collision on deck. We call every move, every hit, every check. If you want the truth, opinions, and fire, welcome to the winner circle.
Oh, love that new intro. Thank you, Miss Dolores. Starting 2026 off with a bang with the brand new intro and a new background. If you can see, uh, she did include Sammy, although Sammy hasn't been here with us on a Saturday in a long
I
time.
wasn't gonna try to say something. I guess it's like, oh, maybe he'll come back. And say, I don't think so. I
I
don't.
mean, he's with us in spirit. How about that? How about that? We
Sure.
are back as usual here Saturday morning, bright and early. It is now 2026. It is January 10th. We are kicking off a new year. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Hope the end of 2025 was good for everyone. Hope you had a good Christmas and a good New Year's, or a Kwanzaa, or a Hanukkah, or whatever it is that you celebrate. Hope it was all good. We were on break. A lot happened during that break. Some surprising things. We have Miss Willow two belts, which is very good. We have the further decline of Mercedes Monet, which is absolutely hysterical to me. She's killing it with that role. Like just her face
Shit.
just says it all. Um, we have a new AEW World Champion who came out of nowhere to insert himself in the Fatal Four Way at World's End and ended up with the title, Mr. Maxwell Jacob Free. What do you think about that, Miss Anika? Anything you want to say just real quick in cap of what happened during the couple of weeks that we were off here? What was the biggest thing that happened for
Um,
you on AEW while we were gone?
that word is hard. Hi guys. No. First thing off top of the dome was World's End. That pay per view. I was very surprised that Mark Moxley won the Continental Classic. I'm like, what? Like I think we all saw the story was like, oh, he keeps tapping out. Oh, he's still in charge of the Death Riders. Oh, blah 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 blah. So for him to beat Cal Fletcher and Okada, it's like, huh? Okay. Now, granted, yes, the match is kind of what you call it. They kind of help with the situation because if you saw World's End at all, but more so with him versus Cal Fletcher, when his mouth took a nosedive to them still steps, and then he smiled like sir. So like that one was okay, but yeah, and then Okada, and then like again, if it was Takeshita, I would have had a bigger issue. Like, but because Okada cheated to beat Takeshita, and so it was Okada taking the pin instead of Takeshita, it makes it a little bit better. So I heard a running theory from Chill Hill Heat that maybe Takeshita's the one to beat Moxley for the title, and it's like, okay, that'll make me feel a little better. But that's probably the most like, huh? Because like I think we can all agree that Cal Fletcher was the MVP of this year's C2. Like his like I'm trying to think of a match where it sucked or was like that was all right. It wasn't the best. Nah, every match he had was so freaking good. So I was very surprised. They're like, oh, they're gonna pull a trigger on giving him the okay, all right, fine, cool. It is what it is. So that was probably the most surprising to me out of everything.
Yeah, it was a fun time while we were gone. Lots happened. We're not going to recap all of it, but as usual, we do recap the collision and dynamite prior to our Saturday show. So we're looking at last Saturday's collision and last Wednesday's Dynamite. Before we break into that, if you're new to the Workhorse YouTube Wrestling channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit that bell. That's the best way to get notified every time we put something up on the YouTube channel. If you're with us on Twitch, give us a follow over there. We appreciate you over there. Anyone who's with us, please chime in the chat if you want to talk about anything Collision related from last Saturday, anything Dynamite related from last Wednesday, anything AEW related in general, or anything wrestling related, or even non-wrestling related, depending on what it is. We'll answer any questions you have or broach any subjects you got. So, love to hear from you guys. You guys are the best part of wrestling or Workhorse Wrestling Network. So, let's see. Without further ado, as we usually do, we'll kick it off with Collision from. Oh wait, I have Wednesday there. It's technically Saturday. That's a mistype on my fault. Let me see if I can fix that real quick, just because it looks weird on the screen.
That if y'all are even paying attention to that.
It is. It was from Saturday, January 3rd, the first Saturday of the new year, first Collision of the new year. I mean, we'll get into it when we summarize the show and give our grade at the end. But this was, what it was. Kicking off the show, before we actually got to the show, we had a few little things. The timeless love bombs chimed in, and they were ready for some hot Texas action, and they were apologizing for what they're going to do to Hyan and Maya World later tonight in their tag team match. Christopher Daniels says Skyflight is a cohesive unit, and with Scorpio Sky out, Dante Martin will step up and take his place to defeat Shelton Benjamin of the Hurt Syndicate. MVP says that's not happening. Says we hurt people, and Shelton is going to handle their business as usual with the win over Dante Martin. That brought us. Oh, Darby Allin says he is close to taking care of the Death Riders, and tonight he's going to start 2026 off by breaking Yuta's face, as he has to go through Wheeler Yuta first to, I guess, ultimately. I mean, I guess the goal is to destroy all of the Death Riders. For Darby, it's not just to get to Moxley, so he gets to start it off with Yuta, and then we'll see where he goes from there. Anything just on the little opening, intros of what we're going to see for the show.
How does Scorpio Sky get hurt again?
For some reason, I can't hear you. Are you
muted? Nope. Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Nah, I can.
A little better?
Yeah.
There we go. Damn! How does Scorpio Sky get hurt again? Like, damn! You just can't win, child.
Wow.
And then him versus Shelton. I mean, sorry, no, yeah, that would have been such a freaking good match, man. That really is like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
All right, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about Scorpio Sky's history to know if he's truly injury prone or not, but it seems like he's missed a lot of time. I don't know if all been due to injury or not. I know that he's on the kind of the older side, right? And kind of on the, I don't want to say the twilight of his career, but more days are behind him than are ahead of him. So, and maybe that's it. But yeah, it's definitely disappointing that he's not, that other than that first run he got when the company started, it's basically been what it has been, I guess. Dante Martin, fine. I mean, I'm happy to see somebody step up, and I like Skyflight overall. I mean, I don't expect much from them because I don't think anybody else really likes them, but they don't get booked in a way that reflects that Tony Khan likes them or that anybody backstage doing creative actually likes them. But yeah, so that
it is what it is.
Match Don Callis, family member El Clone versus Angelico, who we haven't seen in a long time on Collision or on any show actually for a little while.
I was going to ask, was it the first?
What?
No, I'll ask real quick. Was this Clone's first match? I don't think we ever seen it actually in a wrestling ring, actually in an actual match.
The notes here do say El Clone's debut, so I guess you're correct.
Okay.
he's been around for a minute since he destroyed Hologram and took him out, I guess, but he hasn't actually wrestled
Right.
yet. He's been involved in a couple of melees and brawls, but I guess he hasn't had a formal match yet. So this is his debut formal match on Collision for the Don Callis family. And it was against Angelico. And of course, as you would expect, he defeated Angelico. Don Callis family is on a roll at the moment, and I'm not sure that many of the members of the Don Callis family are losing in general. El Clone is definitely not losing to Angelico, especially not in his debut match. Not to mention, El Clone is Hologram, and Hologram doesn't lose on Collision. So, I mean, they're not saying it that way, but so between Hologram and El Clone, he
Yeah.
still remains undefeated, the wrestler himself on Collision. No, it's fine for what it is. I mean, I didn't expect Angelico to actually get the win. Um, you know, we'll see what ends up happening. Ultimately, with El Clone and what kind of push he actually gets. I I guess the question is, even though he was winning all the time, was the concept that Hologram just wasn't getting over enough. So let's turn him heel and stick him with the cat. I mean, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And I'm not sure why you have to actually like make him a different character. Why, if you want to turn Hologram heel, why can't you just make him heel? Why can't you just turn him heel like you do with other wrestlers? The whole thing is odd to me. What do you think of this match? And then we'll talk about a little bit about what happened post match.
Um, it's great to see it in Helico. Like it feels like I want to say during the panorama and a little bit of post panorama, he had like a little bit of a moment, and his style is so unique. Where it's like it's don't really say high flying, but more so because it's also submission based. It's so unique, right? So very glad to see him back. I agree with you about Clone, where it's like Hologram, at least on Collision, had a big name. And then he was in the collaboration. So it's like, okay, we're Google Gas. So I thought this was what you call it, like of course, you know, kids cover your ears. This is a work to introduce someone else and like, oh, your brother or clone, we're gonna finally get hologram and clone to face off with each other. Like you said, this was a very when did he turn heel? A couple of months, definitely 2025, and this is your first debut match. So it's like, what are we doing here? Yeah, I thought it was, and like in my mind, this all sounded like this. Like so, he turned heel along like maybe a week or two after Andrade joined the Don Callis family and returned, right? So that was like the fall of 2025. So I'm like, are you telling me that because Andrade left, was him and Andrade supposed to do something? That's the only logical reason of why we did not continue with this clone versus hologram feud. At least on Collision. At least on Collision. Like you said, yes, Don Callis family is big, but for hologram, in my opinion, he fit well with the conglomeration. So and no, and like now he's in the Don Callis family. I don't see him being a a bigger star. You know what I'm saying? I don't see him beating anyone for the international. Oh, sorry, the unified champion or something like that. So I'm with you. I'm not sure what we're doing with hologram. Very creative. This is his first match, but it was a good match nonetheless.
I mean, it feels like maybe they felt like Hologram wasn't getting over despite all the success he was having, and so let's try to do something different and just throw some at the wall and see what works. But I'm not sure that this has worked so far, and I don't know that. I mean, I guess he was what 30-0, so maybe they did give him an adequate chance to try to get over on Collision, and then maybe it just wasn't happening. I mean, I thought he was kind of over, and I like you said, I mean, they put him with the
Yeah.
conglomeration, and he was starting to cook. I mean, yeah, it was taking a little while, and he wasn't like whatever, but slowly, I think he was getting there. So I guess it is what it is. We'll see what ends up happening. We get John Moxley talking about his match against Shelton Benjamin later tonight. He says first he talks about becoming AEW Continental Champion. He talks about having 12 of the hungriest, most durable wrestlers on the planet, strip them of everything, put them in a blender for a month, and call it the Continental Classic and see what happens. I mean, and then he went on to talk about how pressure makes diamonds, or like pressure creates diamonds, the alchemy of blood and sweat and paint and tears and broken bones and consciousness. Oh, I'm sorry, concussions and disappointment, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and going to insane places in your mind cause you to get hurt, but you want to win so bad. Yeah, I mean, this was a classic John Moxley promo in his bag. Everything he said resonates. He says it with that, you know, kind of intense but yet stoic, kind of held back tone a little bit, and it's John Moxley. So I mean, I like this. I thought it worked well. Some of it is. Some of it's a little redundant. Some of it is, we've seen this Moxley promo before. That doesn't mean it's still not good. But yeah, I mean, it's fine for what it was. I mean, what do you think of the Moxley promo?
It was good, and this is one of the good things about him winning the C2. There's actually meat behind it. Where I will miss the side eyes when he was doing these promos, and the writer the writer was like, bro, you lost like 5 times. Like he just doesn't like no, now he won the whole tournament. Now there's actually some more strong foundation behind this promo. And I'm looking forward to this run. Suffice to just say, like I said, very surprised that he won, but this Moxley, I think we all can get on board with. The heel Moxley was very hard to do. More so the Death Riders mission statement and not being executed well. But just Moxley going out there and just having a good match with people. Yeah, yeah, this is vintage Moxley. This is actually gonna be pretty much I'm looking forward to this. So it was cool.
We'll talk about it during. I have a little some comments. We'll talk about it during Dynamite, during after Moxley's challenge, or whatchamacallit, Continental Classic Eliminator match against Shelton Benjamin. But yeah, I mean, I was definitely surprised that Moxley won. I mean, not surprised in the fact that Moxley is a huge player in AEW. So in that regard, it doesn't surprise me. What surprises me is just that it feels like they started to kind of do the Moxley spiral and then decided to stop and kind of pivot.
Yeah.
And maybe they decided that, you know, kind of what I mentioned at one point, which is having two people kind of experience the same thing, especially two main event stars experience the same kind of thing at the same time, i.e., Mercedes and John might be a little too much. So maybe they decided to pivot from John because Mercedes is doing such a good job. I'm not sure, but I'm not opposed to it at all. And I think that it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to see. You can't really. I mean, you can have whatever you want, I suppose, but there are certain groups that don't feel like they're set to be faces, and the Death Riders are one of those groups. Like when they were the Blackpool Combat Club and they had Danielson, that was fine. Like the heel or the face, felt good. It's fine. Where faces were just, iron sharpened. But the Death Riders
Right.
have definitely been a heel squad, and the name Death Riders. And I don't know, like, if at some point they try, because Moxley's attitude is changing a little bit, whether they try to actually become faces. I don't know that that will work for them. But I guess time will tell, and we shall see. We had our next match, Timeless Love Bombs, of Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus Hyan and Maya Wolf, the twin sisters. Are they sisters? They're definitely sisters. I think they're twins, right? No, I'm
Oh
trying to remember now.
no,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they are. They look very similar. Anyhow, they are fairly new to AEW. Unfortunately for them, they're taking on, the Timeless Love Bombs, who had, consistent Tony Storm, who's been AEW Women's World Champion 4 times, and Mina Shirakawa, who's a very solid wrestler. They did get they did beat Hyan and Maya World. Tony Storm finished it off with a Storm Zero. They did shake hands afterwards, and it, showed a little respect. again, we've seen Hyan and Maya World now. I want to say maybe 3 or 4 times, and I guess they're starting to look a little bit better, starting to become more of a mainstay on AEW on Collision for sure. I don't know that this did them any favors. I didn't think they looked bad, but again, I just putting them in against, a Tony Storm and a Mina Shirakawa when they still have what feels like growth to do might not be the best thing for them. But again, I mean, it is what it is. It felt like this was still a timeless love bomb showcase, even though the leads did get a little, they got more than I thought that they might. It still felt like a showcase when it really boiled down to it. What do you think of the match before we talk about post match stuff?
No, I totally agree with you. I appreciate that it feels like you're trying to actually solidify a women's tag team division. So I do appreciate that. Okay, it's not just gonna be we had a tournament for new belts and that's it. Like no, we're actually gonna try to work a little bit. And at this point in time, we don't really have anything for Tony Storm, like nothing like an actual storyline. So it's like, okay, yeah, let her do a little bit of work to try to get some of these tag teams over. Like I said, they weren't, it wasn't a showcase, but it was like, oh, if you see people again, they're a tag team as well. So I appreciate that. So it was fine.
See, so it wasn't really anything major, but after the match, as they were walking up the ramp, Marina's music hit because they had the next match, and you could see Marina coming through the crowd. And Tony Storm definitely wanted to try to get at her, but she was held back by officials. Tony Storm wants to get her hands on Marina Shafir. We'll talk about that after we review Dynamite from Wednesday. We had the mega problems, which, okay, hold on for 1 second. We already know all the stuff we know about Mr. Terrence from Tampa, right? And yet Tony Khan, who technically has no real affiliation with the gentleman, is going to name the team the Mega Problems in honor of the mega powers of that man and Randy
So
Savage.
so so
Like,
so
really?
so I don't think it was based on Terrence and Randy. So we have Megan Payne, the Mega
I
Sis,
get it.
and then we have
The
and then we have
problem,
Maria who used to be the problem solver. So it's like okay, we're trying to build the tag team division up. So the mega problem.
it's also close to the mega powers. You can't tell me with
But
You can't tell me with Tony Khan's history and knowledge of wrestling and his love for all things nostalgic for wrestling that didn't at least pop in his mind when he decided to put these two together like that in this name.
I don't know because like okay again that's a harp on it. You so that's so because you lived through the mega powers for it wasn't even that long. It wasn't even, like maybe a couple of months. Like, did you live through that storyline? It was a good storyline. And I didn't go whole like, oh, it was a but no, it actually was a good storyline. But not surprised to say. But no, my mind didn't go to the making problems. Real quick, what was Stone Cold and Triple H's name when they were together?
Oh,
Want to call them Mega Powers?
I don't remember what it was. That's a good question. Let's see if we can Google that.
One moment. I want to say it was close though. Give me 1 second here. But yeah, so I don't think it was tempered towards a dedication to them. Now, granted, like more like again, I understand. I would probably do more of a homage to Randy than Terrence from Florida or whatever. But
Power trip?
yeah, I don't think like the 2-man power trip. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna put that much stake. I'm not gonna put that much stake on it. I'm not gonna dismiss it. I'm not gonna dismiss it, but I'm not gonna put that much stake on it. I'll just say that. Like, okay, now I will say like, oh, now she's the problem again. All right. So she hasn't been the problem for the past year and a half, but now she's back. But now we got her in a nice position on the roster. We could like no offense, but when she first came on the scene as the problem by herself, it wasn't clicking. So maybe we should just leave that in the past. Let's leave the name in the past, along with the bad start for her in AEW that first year. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think the name is fitting because the problem is that she's just not that good. Like,
Stop! That is so
listen,
boo.
listen, listen,
That's
listen,
so
listen. We've said this many times, and Dolores has said it too. On the independent scene, she seems like a totally different person. I don't know where the disconnect is with AEW, but she has not done anything in AEW at all that's made me like this is impressive. And now they're giving her more and more time in the ring, and I think it's just exposing her issues more and more. So it is what it is. The mega problems Megan Bain and Marina Shafir did wrestle. Uh, Raquel Chanel and London Dior. And maybe I mispronounced the other lady's first name, Chanel and Dior. Let's call them that. It doesn't matter what their names are
ooh.
because this was a
Yeah,
squash slash showcase for the
yeah.
mega problems. Marina Shafir tapped out one of them with the mother's milk very quick. Um, this is supposed to, I guess, make Megan Bain and Marina Shafir look very strong. It didn't necessarily do that for me because I don't know who these women are. And these women don't, I've never seen them get a victory. So naturally, of course, Megan Bain and Marina Shafir should be beating them. I mean, you've told us that both of these women are incredible. You've told us how amazing a tag team they are. And now you put them in the ring against two women that nobody knows. So, of course, they're gonna win. This for me, this was a down part of the show, just in general. Both this and honestly the match before, just because it's like the women only get so much usually on shows, and to have and against High and Maya World, and we get to see Tony Storm, we get to see Mina Shirakawa, and nothing against Chanel and Dior, but it's like when you get two women spots in a 2-hour show, the fact that both of them are up against people that we don't really know, and but just like essentially squash matches to a certain extent, is a disappointment. So I was a little disappointed with this.
No, I get that. I was like, I do get that. Like, at least one of these should be a somewhat competitive match. I do get that. I do appreciate that. Okay, like I said, women's tag team division. We're going to split it up. It wasn't just we need to be together because of the tournament. It's actually okay. No, we're actually trying to build each other up. Actually, like from what I saw, I do like these. We call it Chanel and Dior. I actually hope that he gets some time back, hopefully, because they actually like okay, I actually see some potential from the squash match. Uh, but like I said, more so we're just propping up Megan and Maria, which is very much so needed. And they were talking about it on Dynamite. It's like if we're going to keep Marina wrestling, I do think she's better in the tag team than by herself. I do love it. I do love the tag team. The tag team what they were doing, where it went to a F5 and two Mother's Milk. I don't know how that didn't hurt Maria. I'm like, how, where her face land? Because dang, you can't like that's basically what 150 plus pounds landing on you. I was like, are y'all sure that y'all this is what y'all want to do every time y'all wrestle together? I mean, it looked cool, but I'm just saying for your health and your body hurt. But if you all right, then go ahead. But it actually did look cool, so it was again fine.
No, I mean she looks much better with in a tag team than she does alone. That's very true.
Oh yeah.
Lance Archer and Hechicero are beating up a couple guys backstage while Josh Alexander laughs and talks about a new year and all that's coming for the Don Callis family. Um, he says Takeshita will successfully defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And Okada will send legendary Tanahashi into retirement with a loss. Um, let's see. And then he sends out Hechicero to go beat Commander. As our next match is a match for a title shot against Mark Briscoe between Hechicero and Commander. What do you think about this little backstage segment with the Don Callis family, ultimately being led by Josh Alexander, just the three guys, really? Um, what do you think of this?
Like Hi, Lance Archer. I still remember you. I still want the best for you. But either way, I do appreciate that. You said the downtown family is getting extraordinarily big. We talk about Port on Dynamite. So it is nice that it's like, okay, even though Josh Allen isn't Takeshita, Fletcher, or Okada, he is a prominent part. So I'm like, oh, okay, okay. So it's like if we're comparing him to the Death Riders as of right now in my mind, he's Pac. Like, okay, cool. Until we get a nice little program for him, it's a nice little space to be in. So like, okay, cool, 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 cool.
Agree. I agree. So now we get Commander versus Hechicero, and the winner gets an opportunity against Mark Briscoe on Collision tonight. Now, for the TNT title. These are two luchadors that I think know each other fairly well. You can tell that they have decent chemistry in the ring together. Um, I Hechicero is not your traditional luchador. I mean, he wears a mask, but he's not really what I would call. He's not a high flyer. He's definitely a ground and pounder. He's
No,
definitely a
there's
striker.
a
He's a power
big
guy.
meaty
So
man.
even though it's two luchadors, technically so they have very contrasting styles, and you saw that here. Commander likes to jump around a lot. He's got several moves that he does. He does that rope walk, which, the first time I saw it, it was like, oh, this is cool. And then the second time I saw it, it's like, this is cool. And then when he tried to do it like three times in one match, it's like, okay, this is getting to be a little too much. I feel like they've done a little bit better job of kind of wrangling him in on that, but at the same time, it is what it is. A lot of these guys do and I guess it's just, as the older I get, I just become that grumpy old man. But it's like, you see these guys and it's like they just do a lot of the same stuff over and over again. And not just luchadors, wrestlers in general. And I get it. Like, you have your move set, but it's like, you should get a little, it's like, man, I've seen that like 85 times. Like, and once or twice it's fun. But then after like the 80, it's like, okay, it is what it is, I guess. Needless to say, Hechicero did get the win with the help of El Clone, who came down and pushed Commander off the top rope. Hechicero pounced on it and was able to trap Commander's arm for a 3 count, and Hechicero moves on and will face Mark Briscoe next, or tonight, technically, Saturday tonight at Collision. What do you think of this match between Hechicero and Commander, and what do you think about Hechicero versus Mark Briscoe tonight for the TNT title?
So I'll say this. I think that AEW is doing a better job with luchadors than WWE. Hold on here.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. WWE doesn't have a great history of what I would call making the luchadors look good. WWE doesn't have a very great history of making anybody look good. That isn't, WWE grown or isn't, whatever. So,
But like as of right now, like it feels like not competing, but basically, Lucha Libre is getting a like it's getting popular on big companies, right? And like I said, WWE is now like facing AAA more and more, and you have the luchadors together, and they're like so more so. If you haven't watched Raw, Pence is back. Thank God, because I thought he was going to miss WrestleMania, and he's helping Ray Phoenix and the Dragon Lee, and they're facing the Vision for whatever reason, whatever. But no, then you go to AEW and you have these AEW. It feels more seamless. It doesn't feel like WWE is so uh in your face. They're trying to offend Lucha Libre. We have to stop them. Where AEW's like, eh, y'all two want to fight? We have an opening. All right, let's go. Like I said, it feels more seamless with AEW. So I will say that. Uh, you said Hechicero, he's just a big meaty freaking man. It's like, sir, why? Like like you said, you just want to put on a mask and just start going run through people. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all. And Commander, he's been doing his thing for quite some time now. So all in all, it was a good match. I appreciate some of the Don Callis family, and there's levels to this. I do appreciate someone else besides the top four in the Don Callis family getting a win. So it's like, okay, you're actually showing that being a Don Callis family is not just the top people getting wins. Everyone's eating at least once or twice in a month, right? So it was a cool match.
Agreed, agreed. We get the Mad King and his boy Monkey, who is back in
Monkey,
AEW. Mr.
Monkey.
Ortiz is back, thankfully for Eddie Kingston, as that appears. Well, as per Eddie says, it's his best friend. It's just the guy that keeps him level. And if it wasn't for Ortiz in AEW, Eddie Kingston would have already quit or been fired numerous times, as he says. But that's not why they're here. They're here because they want GYV, the grizzled young veterans who Eddie has been having a little issue with, and he has brought in his friend to help him take care of. So GYV, we're coming for you. We will get you. Get ready, boys, as Eddie says. What do you think of this? What do you think about Ortiz being back? You think he's back? You think this is a long-term return or like a one-off type of thing? And are you excited for Eddie and Ortiz versus GYV?
One moment here. Thank you. Oh, yes. Hi. Man, thanks. Okay. No, thank you. I appreciate you. No. It's in the morning. I need coffee. But no. Hi, Loki. I missed you. Unlike Dolores, I think you were the cuter one out of him and Santana. That is just my opinion. Whatever. But no, like and one of the people was like, ah, where are they? I missed them. And then some people like, oh snap, he's back, let's go. Monkey's basically Ortiz. Okay, I was like, I feel like Monkey's personal nickname, so I will stop calling you that. I feel like Ortiz is like, oh, he's back, let's go. So I am all here for this as well. Talking about the return of Eddie Kingston, where it's like it feels like he's going slowly, like he wants to go at his own pace, where it's like until he's actually ready. So I am definitely here for this, especially on Collision. GYV, I want to say it was the week before this Collision, and that's cool. I'm glad they're getting some spotlight too because it's like GYV is another story where it's like how the freak did y'all fumble AW and WE? How did y'all fumble grizzled and veterans, man? Cause like, especially when you have what you call it SPR over here, and they could have had banger matches. But we're here, we're in the present. We're in the present now. So I am looking forward to this match, and I am very happy that Ortiz is back. Yes.
Me too. And I'm not. There does seem to be some sort of disconnect with GYV. I'm not sure how two companies can miss out on guys that are so talented. When that happens, it
Correct.
almost makes me wonder if there isn't more going on than we don't know about. Whatever the case may be, I'm here for Eddie and Ortiz versus GYV. I think that should be a lot of fun. Anytime GYV is on my screen, I'm happy. And of course, Eddie Kingston. And I like Keith. So I'm happy for all that. Brian Keith and Big Bill are here. Big Bill thinks it's funny that Eddie Kingston is back and that he was struggling, so he had to bring find found someone he could trust. And then he added that Eddie is a dumbass. Uh, he says that they are coming for a jet speed, and that there's a bounty on them. And as a result, his partner, the bounty hunter, nice segue there, Brian Keith, is going to collect. It is time to pay up. What did you think of this little promo before the match between these guys, which comes next?
You know, Big Bill on the mic has definitely grown leaps and bounds. Just another commercial from the day. And when Eddie Kingston first came back, he went against Big Bill, and it wasn't Eddie Kingston's best, but he just came back. So I'm not mad if they want to run that back with Eddie Kingston now at not 100% recovered, but like maybe 8% back to being old Eddie Kingston. Like okay, Brian Keith. Listen, we said. Wait. All right, cool. Can I hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, cool, cool. Uh,
Yeah.
all right, come on now. Yeah,
Yep. I
one
can
more
hear you.
hour. I took off my headphones. Like, come on, we need one more hour. Just hold on with me.
Hey, come on. Turn the thing on.
Yeah. But yeah, Brian Keith in his we call it the out. I don't want to get it. I don't mess it up. What he called the bounty hunter in his body with his bounty hunter gear and that learning tree gear. I'm all here for it. So I what you call it? I can't wait to Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Big Bill's good. I hope they run this back with Eddie Kingston. It's probably gonna be a better match because he's now at 180% than when he first came back facing Big Bill by himself. And Brian Keith being a bounty hunter, I love that more than Learning Tree. It's like it's just vintage Brian Keith, and he is just when you're fully your character, it just you're better, in my opinion. So I'm here for all of this. And what's up, boy? It's been a minute since we seen you behind my boy Blue.
Yeah. My boy Blue in the chat. Glad
What's
that he's here with
up?
us. What's up, sir? Hope all is well. It's been a minute. All right. So we had Speedball or Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Jet Kevin Knight take on Big Bill and Brian Keith next. They did get the win as Kevin Knight went to the top and hit. I guess they're calling it the UFO splash, which is that kind of modified froggy or frog splash where he
The
turns in the air and comes back or whatever, twists in the air like 180. And yeah,
reverse,
and he got the
reverse,
pin
reverse.
on
Yeah.
Brian Keith. A little disappointed that Brian Keith takes the pin, but again, I kind of get it. I mean, Big Bill's a big dude, and the idea that he's going to have to take a pin and be held down for 3 seconds is probably a little bit harder to get over than it is the smaller Brian Keith. That being said, I thought the match was fine. Glad Jet Speed got the win here again. Um, I, you know, Glad Jet Speed got the win. Still want more for Big Bill and Brian Keith. Again, not, I know we say that a lot on here and it's kind of become feels like an empty statement just because I don't really know like how to back that up because I don't know what more I necessarily want for them. It just feels like they're so good and I like both guys that I just want for yeah, there's only so much for so many people and I get it. Not everybody can eat at the main table, but at the same
Damn.
time, it's like, God, these guys are so good. And especially Brian Keith. And I know that, like, he gets overshadowed quite a bit by Big Bill. And I think that's because Big Bill maybe, I don't know, maybe he's slightly better talker. Although I think Brian Keith's a great talker, too. I'm not sure. Maybe it's that Tony Khan thinks that Big Bill has a little bit more potential. For whatever reason, he seems to he gets kind of the lion's share of the time when they're together. Big Bill does, and the notoriety. But I think Brian Keith is amazing, and I definitely want more for him. So that being said, it's fine. And Jet Speed is on they're on the come up, and they're a popular tag team who's done a lot of good stuff. So them getting the win here doesn't surprise me at all. Let's see. There are a few comments. Let's see.
Oh shoot.
Blue says, "Hey, Fred, what's up?" He says, "Missed y'all, and all is
Yes,
well. Glad to hear that all is well. Glad
missed you
you're
too.
back with us here on a Saturday morning, listening to us talk some AEW." Let's see. So then we have the Grizzled Young Veterans. They decide they're going to respond to Kingston and Ortiz. And let's see. They say it's a heartwarming story of two best friends, but they see them for what they are, two New York street rats.
That's
And
cute.
GYV will make their name in AEW at the expense of Kingston and Ortiz. GYV are solid promo guys. I thought this was fine. I mean, as with anybody that potentially has an accent, there can be some little whatevers. But at the same time, I thought it came off fine. And I'm again excited for the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Eddie Kingston and Ortiz. Anything you want to say about this?
No, agree with everything you said. Agree with all of that. Street rap. What kind of Latin foolishness is this? But no. Whenever they're gonna do this, it's gonna be a good match. So I'm excited.
Here is the beginning of the end of what is the worst thing that we're going to talk about on this show. We'll continue it on Dynamite later. But this is we look back at the rivalry between Hangman and Swerve and the Ops, and we see what leads to the lights out match scheduled for Wednesday's Dynamite that we'll talk about. Um, yeah, we'll talk about it later. But what do you think about this little
We
segment and the
will.
idea of a lights out match?
Um, I like, no offense, but listen. I get it. Heyman lost the title, but in my mind, uh, nothing warranted a lights out match right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, we have not escalated to a lights out match. If you think in the past, um, OC versus I want just off top of the dome, OC versus Adam Cole. I want to say that warranted a lights out match. Uh, Adam Cole versus Jericho. Jericho got his girlfriend involved. Okay, that warranted a lights out match. I want to say definitely one of them jobs in there was either hey, I want to say this. All right, now you correct me. Hangman versus Swerve or Hangman versus Moxley. I feel like either Hangman or Moxley had a lights out match, and whoever they face will deserve. As of right now, Swerve, Hangman, and the Ops did not deserve a lights out match. It's just now computing for me personally. Um, but do y'all? It's fine. Whatever. Especially now that you have. So just put a little bit. So as you said, MJF comes in. He beats three different guys. More so, he beats Samoa Joe for the title at World's End. Right. So it feels like, not gonna say directionless, but I don't know if AEW knew where we were going with this title, in my opinion. Or it's like when Heyman lost to Joe, we're all like, oh, that seems sudden. And we're like, okay, maybe it makes sense. Heyman doesn't have a competitor, but then now we just have MJF comes in and beats Samoa Joe, and it's like, oh, I'm not mad at it, but it's like, huh. So y'all really didn't have a plan for Joe, and
Hangman. I mean,
we're
what do you have the title for 2 weeks? I mean, what he had the belt for all of 3 weeks?
I want to say it was definitely a month and a half, maybe. Uh, he went up against Cal Fletcher.
Mhm.
He went up against Samoa Joe twice, but that was it.
That was it.
I'm trying to think of. Tell me if there's anyone else up in that mess, but I think it was only those two, and it's just like, huh? So
Yeah. Right.
I don't need right. So I don't need there to be a plan, but I do need there to be at least a guideline of what we're doing here. As of right now, it's like, oh, we're so no one knows what the future plan is. Okay. When is Revolution? It's in March, so we have 2 months. And again, it's a difference between having a plan and being predictable. And as of right now, if you don't have a plan, you're going by the seat of your pants. Thankfully, AEW have enough top talent where it doesn't feel that bad. But it is like, okay, going back to this situation where it's like, okay, you gave the belt to MJF, but you still want the rivalry between the Ops and Swerve and Hangman. It's like, why are we still doing this if MJF now has the belt? So it's like, why are we doing a lights out match when MJF has the belt? So it's like, it's fine, do the match, but it's like, why?
Yeah. No, I agree wholeheartedly. And just make it make sense, right? Make it feel reasonable.
Yes,
Like there's this, and I don't know that this is anything that's been put out by Tony Khan or the AEW, press machine or any of that stuff. But in the on the internet community, in the world of professional wrestling fans, there's like this idea that Hangman is AEW, right? And that the AEW story is the Hangman story, right? Well, now he's been world champion twice, and the second time he was world champion for all of a month, like it, or like you said, maybe a month and a half. It's like, if that's the truth, then why is he keep getting the short end of the stick to a certain extent? Like, and I'm not saying that he has to be world champion for 5 years like Roman Reigns, but I mean, at least WWE is clear on who they want to make their stars, and they do it, right? Like, it
Yeah.
feels like AEW waffles back and forth a lot between what they want guys to do. It feels like Tony Khan's never 100% on the direction he wants to take with anything at one time, right? And as a result, he misses the boat a lot with certain things. He doesn't hit when the iron's hot. He does stuff like take the belt off of Hangman after a month and put it on Joe again, and then take it off of Joe and put it on MJF, who hadn't even been around for a minute. Like, MJF's not even involved in the world title picture. And then
Bro, yeah.
all of a sudden, what? Here he comes, and now he's champion out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And again, it's fine that MJF is world champion. I mean, he's that's fine, but it has to make sense and feel like it's going in a linear direction, right? And it doesn't feel that way
Hmm.
quite often with AEW. So let's see. We had Shelton Benjamin versus Dante Martin. As you would assume, Shelton Benjamin does get the win over Dante Martin. I wouldn't say that this was not a squash. Dante had some action here and some
Yeah, yeah.
some moves and some spots but Shelton Benjamin is Shelton Benjamin. The Hurt Syndicate is who they are. And unfortunately, Dante Martin and whatchamacallit is who they are as well. So, I didn't necessarily expect Dante Martin to be beating Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin hit the thrust kick, and that ultimately led to a 1-2-3. Shelton Benjamin is picking up some momentum before he heads into his AEW Continental Championship Eliminator match against Moxley on Dynamite, that took place on Dynamite on Wednesday, which we'll talk about. I thought this was fine for what the match was fine for what it was. Shelton continues to look really good. Maybe you could comment on this because I don't know and I was unaware because like I said, while we were on break, I actually didn't really watch much other than World's End. And I guess Bobby Lashley's out and injured, and I don't know
Yes.
like how long. Do we know what happened and how long he's out for? Do we know? Any kind of report?
I so I do not know what happened. I do know it's a shoulder injury. Dang. I'm gonna say the last match he was in was the gauntlet for the new national championship. So I'm gonna assume that it happened
Right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Okay.
really just like, bruh, dang it! Like we can't. As soon as we get something going, it feels like the bomb just gets knocked out of you, which really sucks. Now on the flip side of it is, I do like Shelton by himself.
Me
I
too.
do. Like when he was by himself before last he got here, I thought he was doing some great work. It was just like, ooh, look at 50-year-old Shelton. It's like we gonna give him the big time. We're gonna give him something, like at least a TBS or Unified. So I am glad that the silver lining is that maybe we'll get some more individual sort of Benjamin matches. And then fast for that Dynamite, that was so great between him and John Moxley. It's just more so like I'm gonna say pulling the trigger, but yeah, don't leave him by the wayside. I'll say that. Like I I get posing this question was why was he not in the C2? So I'm like, that like this year's C2 was good. Don't get me wrong, but it was like, yeah, why wasn't he in there? And they're like, well, he's 50. I'm like, and he's still wrestling. I ain't gonna like I get it, it's a tournament, but he's still wrestling. You could have if Okada, Mr. I preserve my energy is in this John doing matches. You can't tell me Shelton uh can't do the same. Now if he said no, it's a different situation. But like I'm like, yeah. So like definitely hope he gets more shine by himself before Lashley comes back, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's interesting because as in between the ropes, Shelton Benjamin is a better wrestler than Bobby Lashley. And Shelton Benjamin might even have more personality than Bobby Lashley, might be a slightly better promo. Neither of them is excelling in the promo department. They're not terrible,
Shit.
but neither of them is excelling in the promo department. But it's interesting because it feels like Shelton Benjamin by himself doesn't get the same respect that he gets when he's with a Bobby Lashley, which is kind of interesting to me, and I'm not sure I understand that. I never really totally understood the disconnect with Shelton Benjamin and why he hasn't had more success than he's had. Hold on for one sec.
Uh, Hi guys. If you can y'all hear me? Hope you can. I'm black. Dang it. What's going on? But either way, if y'all can hear me.
Okay. All right. So sorry for that little
No, you're good.
technical.
I might have to go back out because I can't see myself, which is weird. Right
That's
back. But
weird.
keep talking.
Okay. Um, let's see. MVP got in the ring after Shelton Benjamin beat Dante Martin and was talking about Shelton Benjamin's match coming up on Wednesday against Moxley in the AEW World or AEW Collision Championship Eliminator match. And that he is going to basically that Sean Benjamin's going to beat John Moxley and have a opportunity at the title. So that is hold on, we're having a technical difficulty,
Can you see me?
and I'm not sure why. I don't know why you're black. That's weird.
Oh no, it's weird. Okay.
We
But
know
what?
why you're black. I don't know why your screen is black. Yeah, I'm not sure, but we can hear you. So guess that's
Okay.
and for
Yeah,
some reason
for now.
we're both
And I'll just
ALW too.
yeah. But no, I'll fix it in a minute. But no, this was a very good match. Back to the match with Shelton and Dante. And
Right.
like I said earlier, it's such a Scorpio Sky, but for Top Flight and Dante Martin and his brother, I don't know what they have to do to what's the word? Just get to the next level. Basically, it really does suck. But for right now, I will enjoy Shelton Benjamin by himself because man, he's good. He is so freaking good.
I agree with that. Lexi Nair is backstage with Sammy Guevara, one half of the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, and he is talking about his upcoming match on Wednesday versus Bandito for the ROH World Championship. And that he wants a match, and then Bandito says, "Listen, brother, if all you wanted a match, all you had to do was ask me, go." And later they made that match. And so we will have Sammy Guevara defending his, or I'm sorry, Sammy Guevara challenging for the Ring of Honor World Championship on Dynamite, which we'll talk about when we review Dynamite from Wednesday night. Let's see. It looks like I'm alone at the moment, so I'll move on. We got, oh, there's Nika. What do you think
Hi.
about Sammy Guevara challenging Bandito for the ROH World Championship?
Yeah, don't need this. Cool, cool. Uh, Sammy is a very special scenario. Uh, of his career in AEW. He's been on Collision a couple of times. Definitely on Ring of Honor. I'm not sure if there is. This is sad to say. If there's any hope for Sammy, when I say hope, like getting him back to a stable on Dynamite, right? I don't know how we get back there, but I guess one match and then we'll see what happens. Him versus Bandito is that's cool. Do it. He's doing the whole LO5 thing. I'm not really sure if that's working for him or not. Because, like I said, to correct me if I'm wrong, that's behind the paywall of Ring of Honor, which is still in. Like, why is this? Why is Ring of Honor behind a paywall? What are we doing? What are we doing? But Bandito does need a match before he goes against MJF. So I'm okay with this. I'm like, all right.
We forgot to mention while we were gone, for the first time ever since its creation, we have a brand new Dynamite Diamond Ring winner, I guess, in
Yes,
Bandito, who actually won
it's
the Dynamite
official.
Diamond Ring.
It's
There is
official.
someone that has it besides MJF. What a novel idea. So let's see. We get a Tony Schiavone's out with a medical update from Stokely Hathaway, a prepared statement. Stokely says, I appreciate the thoughts and prayers, and for those of you who mocked me, you're dead to me. I've been receiving the best care here at the Vivian Banks Medical Center. I've been so courageous. They nicknamed me Little Lashley, even though I'm the stronger one. I've been receiving the best care, and my medical bills have surpassed $400,000. Please find a place in your heart to donate today. See Tony Schiavone after the show for details. Tony has nothing to do after the show than drink anyways, so might as well make him useful. God bless everyone, Stokely. So this is classic Stokely, and honestly, making Tony read it and have
Yes,
the insult to Tony in it is great. Having Tony insult himself through Stokely's words is hysterical. So I thought
yes,
this was great. Stokely, even though he's apologizing or saying something somewhat nice, still has to be Stokely, right? And
yes.
yeah, I mean, I thought this is great. What do you think of this?
Like you ask yourself when they do these things, does the person that it's supposed to come from actually wrote it? And it's like, yep, that sounds like Stokely. That sounds like if that's not Stokely, that is Stokely's either blood relative or someone who he's been working with for the past 20 years. So this very much so hilarious. Okay, so last night, uh we were bringing up Stokely Hathaway, and Sammy was like, "Oh, he's big. He's a little lashy now." I'm like, "What? Oh, no, he's probably Big Stokes." And so I like, okay, that's where it came from, which is calling yourself Little Lashley is also hilarious as well. For people who don't know, it was a Chicago street fight at World's End between the Bang Bang Gang and FTR, and Stokely went through a table. FTR didn't care; they just left with their belts, which is hilarious in itself. So I do appreciate all of this, and this was hilarious. This was definitely a nice little added addition to Collision.
I agree. And then it was time for the main event. Mr. Darby Allin versus Wheeler Yuta of the Death Riders. Before that, we did have a little video package, and we saw all the people that want to challenge for the AEW World Championship. We got Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, Swerve. I mean, all the regulars. A little interesting. I thought that was kind of interesting to see who all the people are. We still don't necessarily know what direction MJF is going to take with the belt, and nothing's clear at the moment. But he's got a bullseye on his back, as you would assume the world champion does, and there are a bunch of people that want that belt. So we'll see what becomes of all of that. Wheeler Yuta versus Darby Allin in a very solid match. Wheeler Yuta is getting better every day. Darby Allin is what he is. He's the most like intense, full throttle, never slow down guy that I in AEW at the moment for sure. He's kind of like for me, he's like the antithesis of Okada, right? Like Okada paces himself, and when it's a quarterfinal match or a first round match, you only get 50% of Okada. And, when it's a semifinal, you get 75%. And then in the final, if you're lucky, you get 100%. But even then, it's still, Darby Allin, he comes to the ring. It doesn't matter whether it's against, an unknown on a Tuesday night in a house show or whether it's against Jon Moxley for the world title. He's going to give you 1,000% fifth gear all the time. And I love that. So that being said, he did get the win here over Wheeler Yuta with the Scorpion Deathlock after picking up Darby Allin after a coffin drop, or after picking up Yuta after a coffin drop when he should have got the pin. This was a very, very, very aggressive Darby Allin, even more aggressive than normal, like for him. Like normally he's happy to take the pin and move on or just whatever, but this time he pulled up. I think he pulled up Yuta twice and just continued to, kind of lay the beating on Yuta. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, I don't know how this loss or okay, so I don't want to sound contradictory. I think Wheeler Yuta is getting better. Every time I see him, I feel like he's getting better. So clearly, being with the Death Riders is helping him. That being said, I also think that there is a little bit of, we talk about how you can get caught in a vortex in a faction, and even though Yuta gets a fair amount of time, it would be interesting just to see like how his career would have evolved without being in the Death Riders and being by himself. I'm just curious. We'll never know, but just curious. If he would have had less or more success on his own. But that being said, Wheeler Yuta's fine. He's good for what he does. And him and Darby, I thought this was a good match. And Darby Allin got the win. What'd you think of this match?
This was good. This was good. I know you're going with the whole Wheeler Yuta thing because it's crazy, right? Because we do think that he got better, but the question is, how do you get? Has he gotten better enough for he by himself? And the answer is not really. And like more so, the question is, would that? And like sometimes this isn't the case. Like you see wrestlers and they're still in this faction. They really don't do anything singles wise, and sometimes that's okay. As long as you're getting paid or wrestling, it's good to know. I honestly, it's gonna sound bad. I don't think I want to see Yuta by himself. That's me. Like let him be him, because just let him be his authentic self in a group. And it's like, okay, cool. Now we're rocking and rolling. Now, fast forward to this match. This was a very good match. I agree with you about Darby Allin. It feels like, I'm not gonna say Darby Allin had something to prove, but I do think that he was very much so excited for the for the C2, right? And I know that probably had crushed him that he had to opt out because of the injury. So, and then on top of that, we're still doing this Death Riders storyline that probably would have ended in the C2, but again, you got hurt, so it's like he's probably trying his darnest to be like, listen, I'm I'm trying to give it a good ending for me, right? Where I'm just like defeat everybody and just move on. So I feel like he's like, listen, I'm gonna, through blood, sweat, and tears, rain or there you go, hell or high water, I'm going to end this feud on a good note. And so it's like, okay, starting with Yuta is a very good place to start. So I am happy to see Darby wrestling again. Like, he is one of my favorite wrestlers on AEW. As of right now, probably definitely top 10 for everybody, for all wrestling companies. And this was a good match. This was a good pay. It was a good main event too. So I'm here for all of this. Yes.
I thought that this episode of Collision was down for me. I thought the main event was the best match of the night. In fact, I thought it was really the only really solid match of the whole show. Honestly, I mean, the rest of them were kind of showcased in squashy matches. So, and the two women's matches were down. So I was very disappointed in this episode of Collision. I'm going to give this like a C. It could have even gotten a C minus, but I'm going to give it a C.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's hard to argue with that, more so because like C2 gone. There's nothing review. The next one is in March. So yeah, we're gonna have some mini TV special TV shows, but that's not gonna be as big as a premium live event. So it is kind of like, as of right now, the Collision is gonna be Collision. So hopefully, I'm like, they will find a good storyline to carry throughout the whole show to make it feel important. But as of right now, Collision's just like, hey, you bored on a Saturday? Oh, come watch it. We'll have a couple. We're gonna have a couple of good matches. So I do agree with you. I'm gonna give it a C2. Like, there's nothing on this show where it's like, oh, did you see that match? You have to go back and watch it. I can't give any of these matches that credit. I can't. Like, the only thing that'd be like, that was funny, watch that again, was the Stokely Hathaway promo where that's said by Tony Schiavone. Besides that, you miss it, It was fine.
Agreed. All right, so that brings us to the end of our AEW Collision coverage. I want to let everybody know that there's a chance that I may have to get off quick as my daughter is about to have a baby at some point soon here, and it could happen at any time. So my wife is getting ready to take her in because she's having some, I'm not sure. We'll find out soon. So if I have to jump off, that's why. But in the meantime, Anika will take over and review AEW Dynamite.
Yeah. Okay. At least y'all know. Like my dumb behind sister, we was like, okay, we're gonna it was a Saturday, and we're gonna get our hair done. You're good? Yeah, I'm good. And it's like 2 hours. Me and my mom got our hair done. She's like, "Are y'all done? Like, yeah, we're done." Yeah, my water broke. Half a winter water break. An hour ago, but I don't feel anything. Get behind the freaking car. What's wrong with you? But crazy enough, they had to give her a C-section. So like either way, it was going to be a long behind day. So I guess she was okay with it. But yeah, so this was Dynamite from the first Dynamite of the new year, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. This was January 7th. Yeah. I didn't even see on the thing. We're on a roll. So we start off with, we're in Oklahoma, and here comes the Hall of Famer JR to commentate. Evidently, we call it Brian Danielson was out, not sure because of JR or because they just need a replacement. They're like, hey, we're in Oklahoma, let's call JR. He was here for the whole day, the whole show, and it was pretty much so very nice. And then we go backstage where we have a little bit of discussion between GOA, Gates of Agony, and I'm sorry, they're called Demand. That's not whatever. With Ricochet and what you call it? Don Callis family. As of right now, Gates of Agony and Ricochet were feuding with Jungle Boy, and they took out Luchasaurus. So we had a triple threat match, and Jet Speed was going to be Jungle Boy's tag team partners, but the Don Callis family took out Jet Speed, and they're like, we don't know who did it, but you know what? If you need a little bit of help, here's somebody that can help you out. We have Mark Davis come back with Jake. If you're a TNA fan, Jake something is here, and his official name for today is Jake Doyle, and he looks jacked. He looks like a variant. He looks like a variant of Wolverine. Like, that's the best way to describe him to see. Like, who? Okay, okay, he looks menacing. Cool, and then him and Mark Davis together. Yeah, that sounds like a problem. And hopefully, like he was, like I said, in TNA, he was Jake something, and he did pretty much. He was a fan favorite, but he never reached the highest of heights. So hopefully, in the Don Callis family, he'll get a little bit more notoriety. And Don Callis family has one more member, like they need anybody else. So that was the little backstage segment. And now on to the first match of the night, which is the Continental Classic qualifier match between Shelton Benjamin and Jon Moxley. If Shelton Benjamin wins this, he goes on to face Jon Moxley for the title. Not mad at this at all, because you get qualifiers, they get a bad rep, but I guess there's a little bit more of a what's the word? You get more of a shock value Where it's like if it was a championship match, no offense, I think we all can assume Moxley wins. But it's a qualifier to get a championship match. Like, oh, we don't know who's going to win this. And this match was good. So, like, surprise, surprise, Shelton Benjamin and John Moxley had a good match. It did go off a little rough. I can pretty much so say this is probably the first match of the that John Moxley had against Shelton Benjamin, and vice versa. I don't think that they that they face each other ever. So of course it's gonna be like a filling out process of, all right, what can you do? What can you do? I like the filling out process because it makes Shelton Benjamin look very much so dominant, where he was just suplexing the crap out of John Moxley the first couple of times, and then when they found the groove together, like, okay, now we got a groove going on. Now we're clicking on all cylinders, John Moxley and Shelton Benjamin. All in all, the ending was Shelton Benjamin had an armbar, and John Moxley rolled them up. Shelton Benjamin did not let go of that freaking armbar. 1, 2, 3. Took John Moxley for the win. You can tell MVP was just like, why didn't you let go of the arm? Like the trope of an armbar, you're not letting go of the arm when you're getting pinned. It's not anything to say, but it makes you stupid. It's not a good look. So I love the expression of MVP, like, let go of the arm. What's wrong with you? But at the end, John Moxley showed respect to Shelton Benjamin. At the beginning, Shelton was trying to shake his hand. Moxley was like, no. I like that. Where it's like, listen, yes, we'll show respect after the match. Like right now, we're competitors, but the beat you behind, and then I would show you some respect. So I love that it did make Moxley. It made Shelton Benjamin still look strong. Whereas like you didn't get like a definite win. It was just like, hey, I just got you this time, and hopefully we'll see more Shelton Benjamin. But this was a great match. Your thoughts?
I've already railed against these eliminator matches. I'm not a big fan of them to begin with. And it feels like, if you really want to make Shelton Benjamin look strong, you have him win the eliminator match and then lose to Moxley in a very close match for the actual title, right? And give him a shot for the actual title, as opposed to just losing in a stupid way in the eliminator match. Like, Shelton Benjamin is fine. He's got a triangle choke on. He's in the dominant position, and yet he lets Moxley roll him up for a 3 count, or lay on top of him for 3. Come on, man! Like, even if you don't want to give up the arm, like, enough. You're supposed to be a smart enough, cerebral enough wrestler, and been doing this long enough. You just have to adjust your position a little so that you get out for the 2 count, and you can still hold the. But no, Moxley had to get the win because that's the way they wanted it done. So it is what it is. The match was fine. I have an issue, especially when you have guys that are super talented like a Shelton Benjamin, when they rely on something too much. And I felt like after the 3rd or 4th German suplex, it was a little too much. I'm not a big fan of guys doing, 10 German suplexes in a row. Like, after the 3rd or 4th one, it gets extremely boring to me, especially because none of them seem to have the same oomph as the very first one does, right? Because as a general rule, you're getting tired from trying to lift that person over. So by the 7th or 8th one, it doesn't look near as good. It doesn't look all, and it's boring from a wrestling standpoint. And when you're a guy like Shelton Benjamin, who has the offensive arsenal that he does and the moveset that he does, to spend 10 minutes in a match or 8 minutes of a match, hitting nothing but German suplexes, is just like, okay, it is what it is. But no, I mean, as a general rule, I thought the match was fine. I guess I'm disappointed that Moxley got the win because I wanted to see Shelton at least get an opportunity at the title. I don't know he's not going to win, but at least have it mean something more than just a shot at the title. But yeah, I mean, at least Shelton's getting the play. I mean, at least the Hurst business is not just sitting and catering while Bobby Lashley is out. That's the good thing. I was afraid that might happen, but they're still giving Shelton Benjamin a lot of time, which is nice. So it's fine for what it was.
Yeah, I agree. All right, couple of video packages. If you didn't see it, Tanahashi had a Victoria match against Okada. Everyone says that this was a great match, and that by old no knees Tanahashi standards, was a great match, period. So it's like, whoa, that is very high praise. So if you're a fan of Tanahashi, and even though he went against Okada, if you're a fan of Okada or Tanahashi, go back and watch it at Wrestle Kingdom. Yes. So it was a very good match. Tanahashi, I wasn't a fan of his younger year. I wasn't a fan, period. Remember, so when I say not a fan, I didn't know of him until AEW. But what I've seen, he was a very big staple. Sammy Slim and Sammy Joe was like Mouth of Tears, Shibata, Nakamura, Tanahashi. Tanahashi is the official one to retire. So if you want to go watch it, it was great. And then we have a video package of Kenny Omega. And like I said, like just in case you forgot who Kenny was, here he is. He is a big deal if you forgot. He is going to return next week for Maximum Carnage. We talked a little bit about him actually throwing his hat in the ring, facing MJF, and I love this. It feels like it's been for freaking ever that we had Kenny Omega in the main event picture going for the AEW title, and we all wanted it, and for one reason or another, it just didn't happen. So it's just like I'm excited. Where it's just like, yes, this is what we want. This is like. I don't know if he's going to beat MJF, but if he does, I'm cool with it because it feels like Kenny Omega kind of is winding down, and I would love to see babyface Kenny get the belt. I ain't never seen that, so like I just got coat face Kenny with Don Callis stealing the belt from Moxley, which was fine. So I would love to see a babyface Kenny Omega with the belt. That'd be fine. Your thoughts on any of these two video packages?
Not really. I mean, happy to always have Kenny Omega back. I agree with you. I don't know, again, as with a lot of guys, he's got, that we've come to know and love, he's probably got less days in front of him than behind him. But in the meantime, while he's around and still able to go, let's use him. And yeah, I mean, I'm here for all of it. So, Tanahashi and Okada, I have not watched the match. I'm not a big fan of Okada. I liked Tanahashi, but I came to New Japan late in his career. So
Yeah.
I've seen a couple early matches of his just watching old stuff. But for me personally, my experience with him has always been since he's been kind of at this point in his career. And so, it is what it is. I mean, I can appreciate for them the importance of this. For me personally, it doesn't necessarily move the needle a whole lot that I'm rushing off to go watch it. That doesn't mean that everyone else shouldn't, or that it isn't a great match by any stretch of the imagination. It just doesn't hold that much interest for me at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. They were fine. I mean, they're good video packages. So
yeah. All right. So now back to the ring for trios action. We have Gates of Agony and Ricochet, the man in the ring. Here comes Jiggle Boy Jack Perry. They do a little video recap of why Luchasaurus isn't with them. Gates of Agony dude put him through a table, and then put Jet Speed to help him, but Don Callis family took out Jet Speed. So here comes Jiggle Boy. Is he by himself? No. In all of his glory, Super King Party! Babyface Young Bucks are back in all of their ribbons, full bright colors, and doing the move and the pyro and the money. And like, we're officially like no more broke bucks, no more heel EVPs. It's been like, I'm trying to think. When the last time were they baby faces? It's been a long freaking time, definitely a year, and you can tell they're just like, yeah, it's been too long. You can tell like they weren't smiling, but you can just tell the radiance coming off of their faces. They meet Jungle Boy Jack Perry. They slide in, and the brawl just begins. Okay, so they're just like they're brawling out. Gates of Agony and Ricochet are outside the ring. They do the flips. One very stupid, funny moment was Nick Jackson was beating up Ricochet, he gets somebody's cowboy hat and and put it on Ricochet before he hits them, and then down behind Ricochet, gonna tip his hat before selling. It's stupid but hilarious. That's the only way to explain it. But before the go to commercial break, gets agony, gets second to control, pretty much so well. This ends with then the whole trio action with Jiggle Boy, Jack Perry, and Young Bucks, where it's like do trios, drop kicks. There's the EVP triggers. There's a whole lot of flips that happen. And 1, 2, 3, Young Bucks and Jiggle Boy Jack Perry wins their return match. It is so great to see Baby Boy, Babyface, Young Bucks back. Is and we all know Nick Jackson is awesome, but Jiggle Boy Jack Perry and Matt are good too. Your thoughts on the match?
For some reason, I thought Ricochet got the win with the Vertigo. Am I mistaken? Maybe I'm thinking about something. Maybe it was on another.
No,
wrong, but
I'm gonna double check, but no.
Okay.
Young Bucks. Now it led into a brawl where they stood tall, but no, Young Bucks.
I watched a couple things, and maybe I just got confused on what I was watching. But needless to say, I was very happy to see the Young Bucks back in their face glory, right? And it's good to see them back, fan favorites in all of their loud attire. No more broke bucks, as you said. Pyros are back, outfits are back. They're solid. They're one of the best of all time for a reason. Jack Perry needed backup, and he brought solid backup. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony are extremely, strong at the moment, and the Gates of Agony look basically unbeatable most of the time. I mean, they're so strong and yet they do lose. And so, it is what it is. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. Lots of good back and forth action, and happy to see the Young Bucks, I guess as faces again to a certain extent. So,
but yeah, no, Young Bucks and Jack Perry got the win, but they could. Okay. Yeah, they cherished the moment for just a little bit because here comes the new debut of the Dallas Callis family.
That's right.
Yeah, this what happened. Yeah, Jake something and Mark Davis comes out to attack the Young Bucks and Jack Perry. Just be trying to get their revenge, but then the lights go off. The lights come back up, and there's a man in a skull mask. Like, we don't know who this is. It's freaking Andrade. like no one else has this mask, bro. I'm just saying, if you want to do a dramatic reveal, get a different mask. But in the suit, but in a nice suit and the skull mask, Andrade makes his debut back in AEW to help the Don Callis family. They stand tall. So as of right now, the Don Callis family has Jake something and Andrade included in their family. What do you think about this brawl? It was like the whole stopping for one dude seems pretty like I don't care who it is. I don't think he's gonna be with y'all. Let's hit him in the face real quick, just make sure. But what do you think about the return of Andrade?
This was a lot going on here, right? I mean, there's a lot to unpack here because now you have what clearly seems to be a new tag team for the Don Callis family, which is Davis and Doyle, Jake Doyle and Mark Davis, which further solidifies that I guess we're not getting Aussie Open back. I guess Kyle Fletcher has earned his spot as a singles wrestler, and they determined that Aussie Open days are over, and so now they put Mark Davis with a new guy, which is fine. A new guy into the Don Callis family, more people. Okay, it is what it is. I don't really know much about Jake Doyle, but they looked strong. And yeah, Andrade, obviously we knew who it was. So like you said, it's not really a huge surprise. The surprise, I guess, is that he's back, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, I'm not, with all of these guys in the Don Callis family, I'm a little leery, but I was impressed with Doyle and Davis. I really like Mark Davis, and I want him to get more TV time. And if they're convinced that he has to be a tag team wrestler and putting him with this guy is going to do that, then I'm here for that. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see at some point, and maybe I have a feeling it might be Takeshita. At some point, someone's going to leave the Don Callis family, and the question becomes whether that is like the downfall of it and more than one leave, or if we just get one defection. But at some point, something has to give with the Don Callis family, I think. The other thing I was thinking while I was watching the Young Bucks was thinking to myself, and I don't know that this is necessarily a viable question because I think it's probably the Bucks, but I was thinking to myself, in my mind, who do I think is better, the Bucks or the Hardy Boys? Just in the history of wrestling, and they're a little different. The Bucks are a hair more high flyer, I think. Jeff was definitely the high flyer of the team. Matt was a little more grounded. I think the Bucks are a little bit more high flyer, a little bit more energy overall, but like they still seem very similar to me. And as I was watching it, that thought crossed my mind. But this is all good. There's nothing bad here. So I thought all this was good.
Like, crazy enough, if they ever wanted to, like Matt and Jeff are still wrestling. They're in TNA. They're still wrestling. They're still doing a pretty decent job at wrestling. If they ever want to run that back, I'm not mad at it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I'm like, you gotta do it one more time. I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they did a match in AEW, just them versus the young. I think Jeff got into some situation before that happened. So it's just like, I don't know how, but y'all can just do that one more good time. That would be awesome. I know they did it in TNA, but in TNA they weren't the Young Bucks. Like they're still good, but they weren't the Young Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So after the brawl, crazy enough, we have FTR and a wheelchair-ridden Stokely come out to pose for their titles. I'm going to assume this is like, okay, either we had a couple of tag teams up in this brawl, so one of these people are going to face FTR. They're the stand tall the titles. I not opposed to any of this. Either them versus Gates of Agony, them versus. We already did them versus Young Bucks, so that's down the card. We can wait for that. We can wait for that one. But what was I saying? Them versus Jake something and Mark Davis. Sorry, Jake Doyle. I'll be respectful. Jake Doyle. That would be a slobber knocker. That would be some thick men slapping meat. And who else is out here? And Jet Speed. I don't think we ever officially got that. Well, did we for the title?
Not for the title.
Well, not for the title. I don't think they're champions when they had the Jet Speed feud.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Exactly. So yeah, any of these would be so like suffice to say, FTR has a nice little plate on their hands of people that can go against. Any thoughts on FTR coming out with the titles? Like, it was very short and cool.
I mean, assuming if they leave the belts on them for a minute, they'll probably face all these guys. I mean, my guess is that at some point they'll face Jet Speed again for the belts. They're probably going to face Doyle and Davis. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Gates of Agony. It seems to me that the Gates of Agony are poised and the demand is poised for them to win those titles at some point, and probably sooner than later. I mean, the demand, Ricochet is, definitely hot at the moment, and they're very hot. They get booked that way, so it wouldn't surprise me to see them win those tag team championships at some point. I think it's hard to keep them away from them, especially if they're in the mix because they're so good, right? Like there are certain guys, and I talk about it here. We've talked about it here. There are certain guys that it's like, how do you viably have them lose and make it look good on a regular basis, or just in general? And I think Gates of Agony are one of those teams. They're so strong, they're so talented. It's like, how can we make them realistically lose and make it look like it's, like I said, realistic? So we'll see what ends up happening, but I'm here for FTR versus ultimately all three of them. I mean, we'll see what happens with Jet Speed because they're both injured at the moment. But yeah, I'm here for all of it.
Yeah. All right. And so next we have this top of the hour celebration with our new TBS champion, Willow Nightingale. Did you see the match between her and Mercedes Moné? And did you think they were going to let her beat Mercedes.
I did not, and I did see the match, but I'm glad that they did because not only does it give Willow 2 belts, which is awesome, and we always talk about how we want the most for Willow, and even though it's
Yes.
not a world championship at the moment, she does have one half of the world tag team championships, and she's now the the only 2-time TBS women's champion. So, she's getting a lot. So I mean, I don't know, other than a world title shot, I don't know what more and a world title run more we could really ask for Willow. So at this point, I'm extremely happy with everything that she's getting. I did see her beat Mercedes, and if backstage the discussion was, okay, we probably don't want to do 2 crash out stories at the same time. Who's doing it better? Mercedes seems to be doing it a little bit better than John. Let's stick with Mercedes and pull the plug on John. Then that was the right decision and the right call because Mercedes is just doing an amazing job at this. Her in that fucking white veil, dude, was insane. Like I laughed the whole way to the ring. Like she's grieving her title in all white. Like it was hysterical, dude. And pumps and the whole thing was great, dude. And then we'll get to
let's
that.
talk about.
Yes,
So
the whole
like I
thing was
said,
great.
so before they come out, we have the ring covered in lavender, my favorite color, in white, and a bunch of confetti. Renee Paquette's in the ring and says, "Here's your new TBS champion, Little Nightingale." She comes out in a very nice little outfit alongside with her tag team champion partner, Holly Cameron, and the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Statlander, and they're doing the whole the music come out, and like I'm sorry to address this, but they had t-shirt guns and the guns didn't work. I'm like, come on, boo. And so Willow gets into the ring. She gets into the ring, the lights go off, or the lights are not up. And then, like at 3 minutes into the segment, they finally get the lights back on. I'm like, what is going on? Listen, this is a celebration for Willow. I mean, you gotta be on. Y'all should have checked all of this for Willow Nightingale. Everything should have been on point. But we continue. So, but I love what Willow said. She was like, over 100 days, I have missed the TBS championship. It is now finally home. We're not just celebrating me winning the TBS championship. We're also celebrating the return of my friend Chris Statlander. Because I again, if you saw her win it last week, at the end, Salary comes up, they did a big hug. I'm happy that they wrapped it up. Like, okay, we really didn't do a good job with the Willow Statlander feud, so let's put a nice little bow on it, and I'm happy with it. Boom, nice little bow. And then Willow was like, you know what? So I already know how this is going to go. Before she even comes out here, Mercedes Moné, come on down. And as you said, CEO plays, and Mercedes Moné has this short white tuxedo shirt, jacket with this big behind veil hat, and it's like, you're at a funeral. I guess you're mourning your loss, but you're in white. I'm like, I'm pretty sure somebody's culture they wear white for a funeral. So we're gonna assume that's what you're doing. All right, cool. And so she gets into the ring, and Willow was like, listen, you are one of probably the best runners of all time. She runs down her accomplishments, how she's all the championships she's won, but she's like, but I am now your TBS champion. So come on, let's celebrate. Let's eat some cake. And so Mercedes takes off her hats, and she just she just starts screaming. She pushes Holly Cameron down. She pushes Statlander down, and she tries to go after Willow, but Willow catches her, and she does her patented power bomb to her, and she lands into, and then no, sorry. She goes for Statlander, and her face lands into the cake, and JR, not the cake. I'm like, sir, you are. We're not gonna go there, and then Willow gets her into her patented power bomb, and she power bombs her back into the cake. And then while else she's laying there, they do a conga line of Mercedes, Harley, Statlander, and Renee Paquette, because she's a clown, does a conga line in the ring. I'm not sure how to feel about this, more so than like, listen, we're all Willow fans, and I do get you're trying to what do you call it, the control of the chaos before she comes in by herself. But yeah, this girl's on the table. I would just let her, like, maybe she don't come out. But yeah, you calling her out and then power bombing her into the cake. I don't like, who's the bully? Who's the hero in this scenario? So it's like, maybe just let her come out in her crazy and then defend yourself, and not just instead of just let her, and then instead of calling her out, let her go crazy and then stopping her with the cake to the face. But I love that they gave her a celebration in ring, and I love that you call it. They're making it, like you said. I think they're trying to make this reign with Willow, or at least I'm hoping, very much so important, more important than her first one, where it was just like we all knew it was just a pass by until Mercedes was the belt. But your thoughts?
There was some good and some bad about this. I thought that this was where the production of this episode of Dynamite really took a downturn. The fact that they had the light issue with Willow during her celebration really irritated me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand it wasn't a deliberate thing, but of course it happened during Willow's celebration, and they couldn't fucking get it right, and the whole thing was irritating. So that, and then we'll talk about it when we get to the lights out match, but as a general rule, like, quit fucking with the lights. Like, if you can't do it right, then quit fucking with them. Like, just let them stay on and do it the right way so that we can fucking see what we're supposed to see. So, no, I mean, I thought this was fine. I mean, Willow is a solid talker. She had a little great promo before Mercedes came out. The stuff with Mercedes is great. Mercedes looks awesome in her grieving white. And her veil, it's like, and her high heels, like, she's grieving, but she still has to be fashionable, and it's not black, it's got to be white. And the veil was amazing, and her face when she took the veil off was insane. And her craziness and losing it in the spiral is way better than Moxley's kind of spiral that he was attempting to do. So again, if they've decided that only one can do this and they chose her, they made the right choice, because she's killing it as far as looking insane and all that stuff. The cake in the face was hysterical. The stuff with Willow and Stat, okay. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
The bow I need on it is Willow beating Stat for the title, not them being friends and just being okay with Willow being TBS champion and Stat being, AEW champion. Like, okay, it's fine, I guess, for what it is, but really I want to see Willow beat Stat for the title. So, okay, it's fine. I thought this was fine, except for the production with the lights. I thought the lights ruined the whole thing to a certain extent, but it was still fun. I mean,
no, I totally agree with you. Like, and hopefully that still is the plan. Well, we will see. So after this, we have the Triangle of Madness with Tekla and Julia and Taboo. And Tekla was like, "Congratulations, Statlander, you made some friends." But we all know how this is going to go. It's only going to be a moment of time before you turn on them. So, and then like it was a couple more words, and basically at the end they're like, "Let's get toxic." So basically we're going to get a trios match with the women. I want to say either next week or Collision, but I'll double check with you. I don't know how to feel about the Triangle of Madness. I don't. It feels like I don't like we missed the, like I say, missed the boat, but these three together are fine. I'll just say that they're fine. Crazy enough, I know people like, I don't. If you're a fan of the show, I don't like Tekla like that. I did like, she cool, but in this promo, she was definitely the best speaker out of all three of them, and right now it feels like she's helping Julia and Sky Blue, which they're still in their 20s. I'm not sure how old Tekla is, but she does feel like the veteran of this group. So I guess it's a good little formation. Not sure what the future holds. I think we can advise it to say that Tekla is going to face Statlander at some point. Not sure what we're waiting for. In my mind, if y'all are trying to let Tekla be the one to dethrone Statlander, to that I say, boo. No, I don't like that idea. But come on, out of everybody Statlander beat, it feels like Tekla is going to be a down. Like, I'm speaking. It's going to be off a cliff. I'm like, so she beat Thomas Tony Storm. She beat Mercedes Monet. But she gets beat by Tekla. See how I'm in my mind? That's the computing. But I guess we're still doing a few. It's fine. Your thoughts on this segment?
What you're saying, it's like it feels kind of like maybe she isn't up to the task, or that if Tony Storm can't win and Mercedes can't win, Tekla beating Stat seems a little whatever. At the same time, like I feel like they've really positioned Tekla to be very strong, and that this is kind of the direction they've been pushing her since she got here, whether it's against Stat or whoever. And for me, even though Stat has beaten both Mercedes and Tony Storm, there's still something to me that feels kind of flukish about that. Like she did it, but she wasn't necessarily supposed to. And that, if you ran that back 10 times, she's probably not winning the majority of those. So a person like Tekla can come along and probably beat her, catch her at the right time, or I just that's so I don't. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all because I feel like that's the direction that they have Tekla going in. But I would rather see Willow take the title off of Stat than Tekla. I mean, at some point Tekla's going to have the title. I just don't know that I want to see her take it off of Stat at the moment. So, but the match that will happen at some point should be fun. Julia Hart and Sky Blue are kind of what they are. They're definitely mid-card talent that's being carried by a main event talent in Tekla. But it's fun. I mean, as long as they're not being pressed into having to do a whole lot, it's fine. I mean,
yeah, it's just fine. And then next, we have our ROH World Championship match between Sammy Guevara and Bandito, our Dynamite ring winner and ROH champion. This was okay. Again, it's kind of hard. Like, so I'm not sure when they announce matches if they do it on social media. I'm not on social media, but so for me, it's like it was out of the blue, where it's like, oh, we're getting Bandito versus Sammy. So a whole lot of hype wasn't built on this. And if you have not seen Sammy in a minute because he was on ROH, I'm not sure how hyped you are for this match. We've seen Bandito that he just won a diamond ring against Ricochet, but you wouldn't give it Sammy. And no offense, but yeah, the crowd wasn't really into heel Sammy. It was fine. You can tell Sammy was doing, he's like, listen, I've been on Dynamite in a minute, so I'm going to pull out all the stops. But the crowd was just not into it. And so it was okay. Bandito won. He should, because he's going to be against MJF. And it was an okay match. Your thoughts?
I mean, Sammy, when this all started, AEW started, Sammy was a pillar, right? And since then, it's become whatever it's become for any number of reasons. His act doesn't really play very well. Like, people are tired of the Sammy Guevara stuff, and he hasn't even been around in a while, and they're already tired of it still. And again, like, so I don't know. Like, there's definitely something going on there. Like, he's an incredible wrestler. He's got talent. He's got skills on the microphone. He checks all the boxes. For some reason, people just don't like him, and I don't know if that's because the heel just isn't the right place for him. Maybe a face is a better spot for him. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see what ultimately they end up trying to do with him. But yeah, I mean, I don't. Missing the, they the ball isn't falling through the hoop for Sammy Guevara at the moment. Let's put it that way. Like, he's not successful at the moment in what he's trying to do. Him and Bandito, I thought, was a fine match. They're both, they both are solid wrestlers. I'm going to criticize that 21 plex again. The fact that the guy has to stand in the
Yeah.
corner, hunched over, and hold the ropes while you and now you're going to compound it by showboating before you do it. So now the guy
Yeah.
has to stand there and look dumber holding that top rope even longer. So and we'll talk about it after the post-match stuff, but it happened again later too with MJF. So that being said, I do like Bandito. I'm not a big fan of that move. I don't expect Bandito's beating MJF for the title in any way, shape, or form, but the match itself should be fun.
Agreed. So again, Benito wins, but here comes the MJF, our new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, with his Triple B and with his translator, John Cruz. To my knowledge, this is what he was doing in CMLL, and so this was stupid as hell. But he comes in, he's like, "This is John Cruz. He's my translator. He's gonna translate what I'm saying to you." And so, and so he starts off with, "Look, Bandito, I think you have a lot to offer. I think you're a really good wrestler. That makes me. So how about this? How about you give me back my diamond ring, and I will face you. And yeah, we just bought God this match, and I'll face you in 5 or 6 years. This is a very good deal. And then John Cruz comes and translate the freaking what MJF said, and this was stupid. And so Bandito finally gets the mic, and he's like, "I can speak English, butthole." And so that was hilarious. And of course, after Bandito was like, "No, we're gonna fight," classic MJF gives him a knee to the groin, and he tries to steal the diamond ring from him. And so John Cruz holds Bandito up for MJF to hit him with the ring, but Bandito ducks. He attacks, but MJF escapes out of the ring, and so he gives his patented what Bandito's moves called again?
I call it
21 plex. I just call it silly string powerbomb, and he gets he recovers his diamond ring as well. This was a fun segment. MJF is MJF, and as of right now, it still works. It is still hilarious. It's so freaking stupid. You said we're gonna have a match next week for Maximum Carnage. I don't think Bandito's winning, but I do think it's gonna be a good showcase for him. I do need them to include the diamond ring. That's like as we said earlier. We had this ring gauntlet the end of last year, and Bandito won, but MJF wasn't a part of it. So that is a little bit of a discrepancy in my mind, because like the past 5 years, it's basically people who win go against MJF, and so now we're just gonna bypass that, and so it's just like, so hopefully tonight on Collision they kind of like, hey, we're gonna go for it all. We're gonna go for the world title and the Dynamite ring, just for me. As someone who loves consistency in the story, like I understand we did a tournament without MJF, but he did come back when the tournament started. So why is he not? Why do we didn't face MJF for the ring? That's just me. Just for my sanity, just include Dynamite ring in this match. But this was very fun. This was very much a fun segment. Your thoughts?
Sorry. MJF was in his bag, as he always is, especially on the microphone. I thought he hit all the points. The stuff with John Cruz was hysterical. Bandito telling him that he could speak English was hysterical after the big, long translation. MJF hit him with the low blow. Then Bandito hit him with the low blow, so he got a little bit of a receipt. The 21 plex looked really dumb because MJF had to sit there for like 5 minutes on the ropes. But again, it is what it is. Like you said, the match should be fun. Don't expect Bandito to get the win. I'm a little leery so far because I feel like Brodito lost those belts, and since then we haven't seen Brody King, but we've sure seen Bandito. And I don't know if that's like behind the scenes they felt like, okay, their time as a tag team is done maybe, and this is the guy we want to push as opposed to Brody King, in which case I'm very disappointed with that. Not that I don't like Bandito, but they both deserve to be pushed. I thought they both did great work as Brodito, and I thought that they both have earned the opportunity to be pushed as singles wrestlers. So I guess we'll see what happens with Brody King. But yeah, I mean, Bandito versus MJF, Maximum Carnage should be at least entertaining, if nothing else.
So that's a nice little segue. So we get a video package from Brody King, where basically if you didn't know this, he's a rock star. He has his own little rock band, and basically he just like, listen, I don't need you to scream and shout to get my point across, and then they like cut you.
Right.
And then him just. He's like whether body surfing a crowd or doing a cross body to a person. I am always going to be on top, and the king is going to will be back on his throne. So like, okay, so very nice segment. I do agree with you. Whereas more so, I do love like Bandito is cool, but my heart goes to Brody King first. So I love that they did this promo and video package. Hopefully this leads to something else. I don't know what that is, but at least they're giving a little shine on him. It's like, okay, cool. They haven't forgot about him to that distinct. So I'm not sure what's going to be next, but I'm hoping they do have something for him. Another thing, this happened right after Willow, but I forgot. Mark Briscoe is at his chicken farm, and he does a little promo, and he's like, congratulations, Willow, TBS champion, you made the collaboration proud. And so he's like, listen, it's been a couple of weeks and I'm itching to do something I haven't done in a minute, which is beat someone else. So Hechicero, how about you and me a collision? And he's like, listen, I'm looking through my crystal ball and I see me whooping your it's like it's vintage Mark Briscoe, where it's like you can tell it's. I would love to have this mind where I'm not sure what I'm going to say, but I'm gonna just go for it, and usually it's just fine or to greatness. So I love that about Mark Briscoe, and him and Cesaro should be a very fun match. Anything to say on both video packages and promos?
Briscoe's promo was solid. I'm excited for that match. Him and Hechicero should be fun. I don't imagine Hechicero's getting the win. I think Mark Briscoe probably has his belt for a minute. And I don't know that they want to put it on Hechicero ever. So that'll be interesting. The match itself, I mean, it's fine. I mean, for what they both were, it's fine. I mean, I thought it was fine.
Yeah. All right, and so our next match is a women's match for tonight, where we have Toni Storm versus The Problem, Marina Shafir. I love, just side note, I love Marina's new theme song. I know I said it before, but it really is a good bop. This was supposed to be a showcase of Marina Shafir. If you have not seen World's End, it was the Death Riders versus the Agglomeration with Toni Storm added. That was a very fun match. And it feels like they're like, whoa, okay, we got something here. Let's keep going. It's like sometimes you shouldn't keep going. Sometimes you just need to stop. And I feel like we've overdone it. But like we did the week last week, we did a multi-man match again, and that was fine. And then we get to this week where it's just Toni Storm Marina. Listen, I am a Marina Shafir fan. I do believe in her. I have loved her as Jon Moxley's security heavy, we call protege, all that good stuff. But this match kind of proved that she is now ready to be by herself. She does great at multi-people matches. I love her. Like I said, if I should say, I love call it when the little face-off between her and her husband, Roddy Strong. I don't know why they just won't say, hey, this is your husband. It's like the internet is a thing. We all know y'all are married, but it's still a very much so fun time. But yeah, her versus Tony Storm, it wasn't good. She tried to put some personality into it. Like I said, the multi-man matches between Death Fighters and Collaboration, it was OC and Tony doing a dance while beating people up. So in this match, she was kind of mocking that while she was doing a dance and then hitting Tony Storm, but it felt so long where we didn't speed up. And I think Tony Storm felt it too, where she kind of drop kicked her like, okay, now it's time to pick this back up. And so she does some strikes, but the Death Riders come out and they try to sneak attack Tony Storm, but they did it in front of the ref. And so because of that, Tony Storm wins via disqualification. Bro, what the freak? And so, but after that, I don't just put it all together. Now, okay. You tell me how you feel about the match, and then we'll talk about the post match.
Terrible, honestly. Like you said, this was supposed to be a showcase for Marina Shafir, and as a result, Tony Storm, kind of took a back seat and let Marina do her thing, and it looked terrible. Twice she tried to do the dumb spot with the fake dance to make fun of OC and Tony, and neither time it worked. Both times it looked bad. The second time, I guess, with the dip into the forearm looked a little bit better, but even that was terrible. I mean, for me, this really exposed just how bad Marina Shafir has looked in AEW in the ring. It just she didn't look good at all. I mean, she has very limited moveset, and I wasn't impressed at all. I feel bad for Tony because I feel like Tony should never look that bad against somebody that's that bad. Like, I mean, she's Tony Storm. She's 4-time women's, AEW women's champion. She could be one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She's definitely, been one of the best, if not the best women's wrestler in AEW in 2025. And then to come in and have to try to do this to make Marina look good, it just fell flat all the way around, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like I said, she tried her darndest. You don't watch WWE yet, right? So did you? So suffice to say, it was a match on Raw between Maxine Dupree versus Becky, and as of right now, it's both a fight of who was the worst match. It really was like who was the worst match: Marina versus Tony or Becky versus Maxine. Like I said, at least Marina has a personality. That's the one up she has. When I say personality, she has a character. That's why I said. And then like I said, the finish just sucked. Post match, Marina just.
Sorry. I think the issue, and I don't really know what's going on with whatchamacallit, but I think the issue with Maxine and Marina is that Marina gets put over all the time. Like, they talk about how good Marina is, and Moxley talks about how great Marina is, and she's the muscle of, the Death Riders, whereas we all know how bad Maxine Dupree is, right? I mean, that's not, like, there's no but they try to pretend like Marina's this super dope wrestler, and she's not. So it's like there's like this total disconnect, right? So at least with Maxine, we know what to expect, right? So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I didn't see that match, but like, you can't hype somebody up that just isn't producing like that. I mean, you just, I don't know, it doesn't work. So
yeah. All right, post match, like I said, the craziness of the Death Riders disqualifying Marina just bops Tony Storm, gets laid out. The conglomeration comes out to help even the odds, and the Death Riders go into the crowd, and they're all waiting, and here comes Claudio taking his shirt off to go face to face against conglomeration. I like it, but I don't like it. I like that as of right now, it feels like we're doing a little, what's called, we're not a separation, but it's like Moxley's doing his own thing while the Death Riders are handling the conglomeration. So as of right now, Moxley's not a baby face, but he's not in this, but he's not doing the bad things against the conglomeration. That's what it feels like. And like I said, I love Claudio, but I know. Okay. So let me finish it. But so the whole Claudio back, they leave. OC grabs Tony, lifts her up to do a little turn, and then I'm not even sure when Mina Shirakawa came out. I'm like, what is she? I'm like, was the camera off her? I guess she came down to help Tony. She got laid out too, but so she on the ground. I'm like, did people not catch that, or I wasn't paying attention? I haven't been paying attention. But OC grabs her. They do a turn, and so Mina Shirakawa like, oh, and like. Okay, fine. All right. So this whole thing, like I said, they did the multi-man match at World's End between Collaboration and the Death Riders, and that was fine. It was fun, but it feels like you're over. That should have been just a one-off. Like now, and now it's gonna be a multi-man match. It feels like we're trying to suck blood from a turnip, and it's like no. We should have ended this at World's End. Stop! This is not a feud. I thought we were doing Death Riders versus Don Callis because Moxley beat both Fletcher and Okada. And I'm not saying there's something wrong with the conglomeration, but it is like this is not that's the word. This doesn't have enough meat on the bones for this to be a full-on feud. Like we should have just left it at World's End and that's it. But your thoughts on the post match and how this might be, where this might be headed towards?
You know, hold on. Sorry, I'm answering something.
You're good.
Sorry, people.
No, we know what time it is.
No, I mean, it's fine for what it is. I mean, yeah, Mina came down and got laid out with one punch by Marina, which makes Marina look really strong, which I'm not a huge fan of after she laid out, Tony Storm with essentially one big punch after they had their little melee. The Roderick Strong comes down to try to stand in front of his wife. We all know you two are married. You're not going to do nothing to her. Like, really?
What?
So that
World's End, he felt the crap out of her back, and then Dynamite, she hit her for a backbreaker, so he's gonna do it like evidently. That's what they like.
Right. I mean, you're right, and at the same time, it's like we know, we kind of know what's going on, but at the same time, it's fine. I mean, there is a little bit of a disconnect. It feels like between Moxley and the Death Riders at the moment because it did feel like, and we'll talk about it after the Shelton Benjamin match, but it feels like Moxley is slowly turning face again, But the Death Riders as a unit are still heels, which is kind of odd, as you can tell by battling the conglomeration, which is definitely a face faction. I think that the Death Riders versus the conglomeration it just doesn't, like you said, it doesn't move the needle enough. The Don Callis family has enough big guys in it that the Death Riders versus the Don Callis family moves the needle. As much as I like the conglomeration and the guys in the conglomeration, no disrespect to Kyle O'Reilly, no disrespect to Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, Mark Briscoe. The way these guys have ultimately been positioned, it's a very strong, very good mid-card faction.
Yeah.
And the Death Riders are a main event faction. And as a result, it feels like a step down to a certain extent. It feels like battling the conglomeration is a hair below the Death Riders. And so, I mean, I thought it was over when they had the blood and guts, whatever it was, street. I don't remember blood and guts. I thought that it was over, and clearly it's not, and that's a little disappointing. But I guess we'll see what they end up doing. I mean, I don't know. But yes, the Don Callis family versus the Death Riders has much more, moves the needle a lot more for me than against the conglomeration.
Agreed. All right, so I gotta say disjointed, but we did. This is what happened. So beginning of the show, we have Darby Allin on a skateboard looking for what's his name? Pac to give him a match. He's the last person the Death Riders needs to beat, right? That was the beginning of the show. We're at the end of the show, and they finally go back around. It's like, hold up. Like it was so just like we needed one more segment of Darby looking for Pat, because I forgot like, oh shoot, okay, this is still a thing. But yeah, Pat is talking to Renee Paquette. Darby interrupts. He's like, listen, you're the last person I need to face. Let's go. And Pat was like, no. He's like, you have nothing that I want. This is not, I don't need anything from you. And so he leaves the segment. But of course, it's like, why would you turn your back on Darby with a skateboard? And so yeah, so Darby hits Pat with a skateboard. He drags him to a door. He's like, say yes or I'll break your ankle. Say yes or I'm gonna break your freaking ankle. And I'm like, fine, you'll have the match. And here comes now. Granted, the Death Riders did just do something, and it came too late. So evidently, we are going to get Pac versus Darby Allin during Carnage. Like I said, this was fine. We just needed a third. I just need y'all to remind us in the middle of the show. Oh, Darby is looking for Pac. But yeah, beginning of the show and end of the show, it's like, dang, I guess he didn't find him. That's what it felt like. But this was okay. Any thoughts on the segment?
Pac is good at what he does, and I enjoy Pac a lot. Him and Darby is definitely, they have good chemistry, and them together work well. So anytime they're in the ring together, I'm excited. This feud is a good little feud, and I'm here for it. So.
And hopefully this will be the last of the whole Darby versus Death Riders. I think we're going to write it into the C2, but Darby got hurt. So hopefully after this, we're done. Let's move forward. Not sure how that looks for Darby, but let's move forward. Let's go. Ooh, I would love if they want to run back him versus MJF, because I'm still not over it. I am still not over MJF hitting Darby in the face and winning with a headlock because you freaking hit him in the back of the face. So I'm still not over it. I still need a third match. That is just my opinion. I'm still not over it. But yeah, and now it's time for the main event. And of course, the announcer is like, all right, the lights go off. And when you see the lights go back on, we are officially off air, even though you are on air. This is a lights out match where basically anything goes, and AEW is not responsible for what happens. All right. And so this lights out match is, we have Hook and Will Hobbs versus Swerve and Hangman Adam Page. Hangman comes through the crowd. He sips somebody's beer before they go at it. This was cool as a lights out match. In AEW, I did need a little bit more carnage. No pun intended. I did need a little bit more blood. I did need a little bit more action. One of the spots that was cool was they Hangman and Swerve brought in a whole table of cinder blocks, but Hobbs actually did the world's strongest slam to Swerve on the cinder blocks. I know there's cinder blocks, but I'm like, oh, they're not going to break. He just did a power slam. Okay, it's fine. Of course, Swerve is in the ring, so staple gun was included, but it was actually Hangman to use it. He stapled the crap out of what you call it, Hook, but Will Hobbs is immune to these. What you call it, the judo people, the judo students came to help, but they didn't do jack squat. They just got their behinds whooped. And all in all, Hangman and Swerve get the win. This was cool. Yeah, like I said, I definitely needed, like, lights out match in AEW means a whole lot more than what they gave us, in my opinion. But this was cool. Bye. Your thoughts?
I hated it from the beginning to the end. I thought it was terrible. Bad booking. I mean, first of all, no disrespect to Hobbs, some disrespect to Hook. Neither of them belong in the ring with Swerve. or Hangman at this point in their career, especially not in a tag team like that. I mean, two of these things are definitely not like the other, and one of these things is severely not like the other three. So, and I thought that it showed how limited Hook was. Again, I think we see that. The lights, like, okay, first of all, okay, let's back up.
Yeah.
Why does AEW have 25 different names for the same match? A
I
lights
don't
out match is essentially just a street fight, is essentially a Texas death match, is essentially a no disqualification match, is essentially a no holds barred. I don't understand why we have to just give it all a different name. I guess maybe to try to sound creative, even though you're giving us the same freaking match. So that said, secondly, if you're going to turn out the, okay, that, and I don't understand what unsanctioned means. AEW is not responsible, yet you're doing it in your ring with all your people there. It still matters because what happens in the match translates into what happens down the road.
so
So it's not like it's just a one-off. The story still is apropos to the storyline that's going on.
So technically, ascension means it's not in the books. So
Right.
like if anyone brings this up as I beat you, oh no you didn't. It was a lights out match, even though we see it.
Which is really stupid. And it really only makes sense if the records that they promised in 2019 when AEW started were actually held water. We're going to be the company that actually gives people wins and losses, and your wins and losses are going to eat things in a whole, and it's going to actually move you up the line to a certain extent if you have X amount of wins. If you get, that doesn't seem to matter. We show everyone's number at the bottom, but none of it seems to make any difference when it really boils down to it. So in that regard, it's dumb. The fact that they couldn't get the lights back on once they turned them off at the beginning of the match, like I'm assuming the match
yeah.
wasn't supposed to be in darkness for the first 5 minutes. And then by the time they got the lights back on, it's like, really?
They were really
The
on.
whole thing never worked, in my opinion. And for a main event match, I was very underwhelmed. I thought this ruined the whole show, which already had some issues. The lights with Will, like, how guys kick the lights right? Like, this billion-dollar company, at least a multi-million-dollar company, if not a billion-dollar company, get the fucking lights right. Like, this is stupid. Like, and overall, it's fine. I mean, of course, Swerve and Hangman won. They're going to. I mean, there's been no planet do Hobbs and Hook beat Swerve and Hangman. I mean, there were a couple okay spots. I thought the spot where they tied them together and Swerve did the counter and like flipped over Hangman to get
Yeah.
out of the chain. I thought that looked okay. I thought that looked pretty good. And I mean, we've already seen you hang somebody off the rope, so the hanging of Hook
Yes.
isn't anything new. And
I
me personally, I don't like that look. I think it's a bad look. Listen, I understand that as a parent, it's my job to make sure that my kids understand that all that stuff is fake. I get that. At the same time, you guys know that you're watched by children and you do owe some sort of duty to not make it look too crazy because sometimes people do the things that you do. And all you need is some little kids to get a chain out and try to choke each other. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's the last thing that you need, right? And so for me, that's not a good look. The whole hanging them by a chain, I'm not a big fan of that. Not to mention, we've already seen it before. So for me, this main event felt very, very flat. I don't know what the difference is between a lights out match or a Texas street fight or a Chicago street fight or whatever they are, a Texas. I don't understand the difference. But for a match that's lights out and in theory should have some carnage, there was very little. Like you said, very little violence ultimately in this match, and it's a lights out match. So okay, is what it is. I thought this whole thing was very disappointing. I didn't like it at all. So and for me, it brought the whole show down, which I thought was already suffering. So Collision was bad. This was just a hair better. I mean, if Collision was a C and this was a hair better, I guess it's a C plus. But my instincts are to give them both C's. I want to give them both F's at this point because AEW is so much better than this. Like they're not F shows, but because I know AEW can do better and it feels like both of these were filler because you have nothing going on at the moment, I want to give them an F and just be like, you guys, you guys took the week off, it feels like, to a certain extent, but I'm not going to do that. So I gave a C to Collision. I guess I'll give this a C plus. It was a hair better, but not much. Not much.
No, we're in the same boat. SP3 called this a step. We call it a build match. Where basically we're building on stuff for next week, and I totally agree with that. If it wasn't for, and I also agree with you. Like after the second hour, something just was off. It's something I'm not sure why it went off a cliff, but it's something was felt definitely off, basically with the technical issues, the matches. It's just like it felt like hour 1 and hour 2 were not the same. Most so definitely not the same. But thankfully, Shelton versus Moxley and the trios match between Young Bucks, Jack Perry, and the Demand saved this show. Yep. Honestly, that might should have been the main event. If that was the main event, it would have been a better little continuity. Yeah. Like let's start off the match. Yeah, let's start off the show with maybe the lights out and get out the way, and then like move through the round will be definitely better. But definitely agree with you. C plus, yeah. Next week is called Maximum Carnage, so it's a premiere show. So I'm expecting some premiere. I expect it to be definitely better than this week's show.
I mean, another premiere show. Like you went from 4 pay-per-views, PLEs when you started to 8, and now you're at 12, and now you're at every other week is a special Dynamite. It's like, come on, man. Like, I get it. Like, you want the show to feel important, but not every single week can be special, and not every Dynamite needs to feel like it's an attempt at a pay-per-view, right? You can just have a regular weekly show and make it solid. Like, you can have a really good Dynamite and just have it be a Dynamite. It doesn't have to be a Maximum Carnage or a Winter is Coming. Like, you don't have to save your eggs for the Winter is Coming episode of Dynamite. Like, do it on a regular Wednesday, like this last Wednesday, and make it really good. So it is what it is. That brings us to the end of this episode of Winner's Circle. Anika graded Dynamite at a C plus. I graded Dynamite at a C plus. We both gave Collision a lower grade than that. So Dynamite does get the win this week over Collision. This was ultimately picking the lesser of two evils. Neither show I thought was very good this week. Both were down, unfortunately. So hopefully we'll get something better tonight and next Wednesday. Needless to say, we will be back next Saturday to talk about them. Let's do a little housekeeping. Make sure and join us every Tuesday night for the cookout, where we all come together and talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling. Come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. That's every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. On Friday nights, Friday Night Fights with Anika and usually Sammy Joe. Watch SmackDown starting at 5 p.m. Pacific in real time, giving you the real-time opinions and reactions to the show. Saturday mornings, which are with us here now. We are here for the Winner's Circle, where we review AEW Collision and Dynamite from the Saturday and Wednesday before, and grade each show and declare a winner. This week's winner was AEW Dynamite by a hair. Let's see. You can check us out on all of these social media platforms. You can check them out independently, or you can scan this QR code, and that QR code will take you to Linktree, and from Linktree you can get to all of our social media in one location. We're not overly active, but if you post something there, whatever, we will respond. I promise. We want to be more active, so that's something to try to work on in 2026 to get more active on social media for Workhorse Wrestling Network. If you can't watch the Cookout podcast, or you don't have time to sit down and watch it, you can enjoy the audio version on these podcast platforms. And you can listen to it while you go about your day. Anything? Let's see, the wrong one. Sorry. Let's take this one off. All right. Unless you got anything else to say to the people, as usual, we'll get ready and cut out the lights. We'll cut them out. I'm just turning them off. And until next time, peace.
Bye.
The bell, that's the call. Winner circle standing tall. LW, Sammy, and Nika break it down. After it all, Dynamite Collision. We told the truth.